This is the Australian Mobile DJ Podcast. In this series, we'll talk to them, get to know them, and learn from them. And here's your host, DJ Bevo.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. We are up to episode 2 already, and today's guest goes by the name of DJ Kashford. He's based in Melbourne, Australia. When I saw him for the first time, I thought he was one of the members of the Out Here Brothers. Do you remember that song? Boom, boom. Let me hear you say, wow, wow. Yeah. Let's meet him right now. DJ Kashford is on the phone. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? How are you?
Good. Should I do one for old time's sake? Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say, wow.
Wow.
Hey, there we go. Hey, welcome. And thanks for joining us on episode 2 of the Australian Mobile DJs podcast. This is kind of exciting. We haven't really had anything like this in Australia before. So it's kind of good. Yeah, it's good to be associated with, of course, the Australian Mobile DJs Facebook group, which you can join up if you wish. And DJ Kerry Ashford, or DJ Kashford, as he's more commonly known around the traps, is our second guest. And Kez, tell us your story, mate. How did you get into the wonderful world of DJing?
Oh, wow. Yeah, digging up some old crates there. So I basically fell into it by accident, by all means. Actually, I was hanging around a known DJ who used to go around raves out in the country in the bush, a bit of bush stuff. And I was really intrigued by how he always performed. And I would watch him quite closely. It was pretty much his lucky, carry a lot of records for him. And this particular one morning, I can't really recall what part of the day it was, but there was a lot of people dancing. And he decided to wanted to go down and amongst the people and visit and I guess get a bit close with a couple of female kind. And he said, "Well, look, mate, I think you watched me close enough. Take over for a little while, and you need to start playing whatever you like. Just pick anything from out here." And from basically to watching somebody to immediately performing and not knowing what the hell I was going to be doing, I was chucked into the deep end and fell in love ever since, pretty much. Developed my own brand and so forth. Did a lot of parties privately, and people started wanting to pay me for that time. And yeah, I guess that was probably my foray into it.
There's nothing like sink or swim, is there, when it comes to learning a new skill? And it sounds like that was exactly what happened to you.
Yeah, absolutely was. And I still get the sweats even up to 2020 or whatever day we're up to now.
Yeah.
If I don't get those kind of funny feelings of that I'm nervous or falling off a cliff, then I feel like I'm kind of not alive in the moment. So I always try to pinch myself to say how lucky I am that people want me to do such a thing. So I'm pretty thankful and still loving it as I go right now, and will continue to do so until I guess when I want to stop. What
is it that you love about being a DJ?
For me, like a lot of us, a very foundation of loving music. I would often be found having a quiet coffee or two nowadays with a book, and then just still be listening to deep house. That's probably a genre that I'm quite listening to at the moment. But it's how that continues to transcend through to be a universal language all around the world, and how that can be interpreted and how it can be manipulated to suit an environment or to change the feeling or rhythm of a room. That to me is my current level of why into it. I mean, I'm still learning every day, still digging in and going, okay, something I've never heard. Let's find out. That's probably another good part is I'm really hungry to keep learning different genres and how to mix and apply that to a crowd and keep manipulating the situation as required. Yep.
What's a couple of songs you love playing or you're into at the moment?
There's a artist called Pigeon. He does a lot of bass house, deep house, and what have you. He crosses in a lot into the bass house realm. But then he's recently just gone into a lot more soulful house music moods. You can look him up on Spotify. He's a great man. I've even touched base with him on Twitter and just really trying to explore what his music is all about and how he goes about it. He even sent me some really, really good tracks that are not even out there yet. And I do a lot of that. I probably just, touching base with artists like Morgan Page, who, there's a lot of people who may know in the music world, EDM stage, he releases quite a lot. But, now I'm good friends with him on Twitter and then touch base with him quite often. I know his kids and then you develop that kind of relationship. So, there's a few, but yeah, right now it's Pigeon, TJIN, and yeah, check him out whenever you can.
You're an open format DJ. What's like your favourite event out of all the different types of events that you do?
Most certainly my New Year's Eve events down at McRae in Mornington, south of Melbourne, about an hour and away. If you ever know. There's a little Greek restaurant there that basically fills up more than it should capacity wise, and it's a very exclusive booking, I suppose. I've had it for quite a few years now, and people from Mykonos or Greece or from all over the world really actually booking with the very well-known restaurant, and particularly asked for myself to be playing. So I'm there on the lead up to New Year's, but the big one is always the New Year's one, obviously, and it's quite enjoyable. It's almost hair-raising. It's very challenging. I'm playing on the fly. I don't pre-plan. I have a kind of a set idea, but I don't pre-plan on my music. I like to mix live as much as possible, and it's really live from when I start all the way to the end, and even to the big bang, the big midnight drop, and just even an hour and a half or 2 hours after that. It's just to continue that vibe and how you always just raising to the occasion. So it's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I absolutely love it for.
Nothing compares to performing live. I mean, yeah, you can stream and you can pre-record your mixes, but when having that crowd and that feeling, that sense of you're on the edge and you're playing for them and you can get their immediate reaction is it gives you a buzz, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Look, even the pitfalls that come along with it. I mean, I'm realistic enough as a DJ that sometimes you will kind of miss cue, miss drop, probably have a bit of silence, and then it's how you recover from that moment and then build on. And that's probably then the big waking part for me is that feeling of alive is literally that. Sometimes you'll have pitfalls, how you get back quickly on track or to a direction that you really wanted to take the journey to. It's a good challenge in its own. So, I mean, I can say that about 350 people that will turn up to this particular gig on the New Year's Eve have a great time, and they're just loving hugs and kisses and whatever have you have been thrown at me. Good things. I will say a couple of bra collection. No, I'm kidding. It's fun. So to me, it's just pure fun. They're there for a good time, and you try to repeat that kind of sensation as much as you can.
Let's move the shift to weddings now. And you did a course with Bill Herman called the Entertainment Experience. Yep. What sort of things did you learn from that?
Oh, quite a lot. I mean, you were down there too. I mean, it was a great time. It's essentially just to how do I put this in words? Because it's from what I learned from it. Is to I guess not just take it as a cookie cutter wedding for everywhere you go. And I guess that sensation of what you can create just is expanded a little bit further than just what I thought I knew, and what I still apply to this day as options for couples, and the nth degree that he would go for, and what he's made himself available to. And yeah, if there are conversations about that's why X, Y, Z he commands as such. And then you get a clear understanding as to why and how, and it justifies the reasons as to what makes Bill as he is, and how he was willing to share that. I was actually very grateful to be in a room full of really talented people. I thought, wow, I was really quite overwhelmed. I felt like I was the least experienced in that time, and I've made great friends from it, and I continue to still talk to a lot of people through it. And they continue to still share some of their knowledge. So yeah, just that pure data of information sharing was even awesome in itself. And Bill and Jason were awesome. I cannot speak highly of them enough. If I had $1 million and a golden ticket, I would be there. Obviously with COVID, but anyway, that's how I walked away from that experience really, really better for myself, and also feel better for what I was about has become available to me.
It's quite interesting because a lot of people get into DJing. They love the idea of playing music and playing their favourite songs and getting people up dancing and all the rest of it. But being a wedding MC is a total different ball game altogether, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like just the mic work, just that little time that we spent on it, which felt like eons. But I got a great appreciation of how to conduct, yourself through that microphone and what power you actually have. So once you've been empowered by that knowledge, you can apply it and it can better yourself for your bride, for your clientele, making your brand even more far better. Because I was like that example that he made. I was that shy guy behind the decks that wouldn't go past my little facade. But nowadays, I'm comfortable about being out there to take on the moment that it requires to tackle it. That's probably a great empowerment lesson that I learned from him.
What's an example of coming out from behind the console and doing something amongst the audience? What's something that's either been taught to you or you've just sort of created, or what you do at your events that you wouldn't usually do beforehand?
Essentially, how to open up and warm up a room. It's probably a big case one, probably more easy to relatable to everybody that's probably listening to this podcast. How do you open up to a room and warm yourself up to it? And just purely just going, hey, g'day, mate. That's probably not always going to be the case or for the right crowd or the right moment. But there were different tactics of doing it. I mean, for myself, I make a kind of a personal in-joke to myself, which is fine, and I'm comfortable with doing that. And I say, hey, sorry, not hey, but I introduce myself, and then I make my joke reference is that, hey, if you guys want to make requests through later on, you forget my name, that's okay. You can call me Shorty. Yes, I'm relatively short. Or you can call me Music Man. But and that immediately you get that reaction just like you did, and everyone's I'm not looking for it's a dad joke, but everybody's gone and realised, hey, he's just a normal dude willing to make fun of himself. But they were actually 99% of the time, they remembered my name. So through that in-joke, I've broken through the ice. And that's something that I took away from it as a skill, as actually a skill. I don't always do it to every gig every wedding that I do. But I feel if the moment is right, I can use that as a tool. So that's something that that expanded my mind through the entertainment experience.
Icebreak are quite important, aren't they? I mean, you said there you just make a bit of a joke about what you can call me and all that sort of stuff, but not only for the room to feel comfortable with you, but also you to feel comfortable with your audience as well. It lightens the mood, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. From that moment on in most weddings, once I've established that connection and icebreaking, I can conduct myself with a betterment to know that these people are going to approach me later. And it enables me to actually approach table per table when the quiet times are on, and even more when it's more busy. So, developing that relationship as best as you can, as immediate as you can, without crossing boundaries too much that no one is offended, and it's all good. That's how it's like a friend being a friend, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. You mentioned earlier that you were a fan of Deep House and that producer that obviously you're a fan of. Who else in the industry do you aspire to or look up to and even have as a mentor to improve what you do on a daily basis?
So I mentioned an artist called Pigeon. Again, he's been in front of my eyes. There's I guess in the Deep House realm world, there's an artist. I've just forgotten the top of my head right now. It's Me. He's a top end Deep House DJ. He's listed quite a lot in the Beatport Top 100. If you ever listen to that stuff, that's where he reached from just a bedroom DJ to where he's now. That's just been amazing as a ride, and at the same time how he goes about his production flow. It's something that I'm starting to dabble into production into Deep House. I didn't think I would want to, but here I am. I'm starting to learn. I learn as much info as I can. I touch base with people that are in that industry, just that genuine expanding of mine to keep growing.
What software are you using to create these beats?
Ableton, yeah. Ableton is what I'm using with my DAW. To me, they're just amateur stuff. That's the way I see it. I guess when I'm comfortable enough, I'll start thinking about opening it out to the big bad world. But yeah, that's what I use. I guess the most common one out there. There are many, but once you feel comfortable with one, and then you can push it and be creative with it and continue to be bigger than it. That's something I'll keep flogging until they no longer make any more of it, or they'll keep increasing the versions of it.
Awesome. DJ Kashford, absolute pleasure. Thank you for being guest number 2 on the Australian Mobile DJs podcast. Where can people contact you if they want to get in touch and ask any questions about our chat?
Hey, first up, thank you. Yeah, I've certainly touch base with me via Instagram, Facebook, the socials. KASHFORDENT is essentially the social tag. You can check that out on Facebook. That's probably the main one. Or DJ Kashford on Instagram, or KashfordENT as my business page. Happy to always hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. This is the Australian Mobile DJ podcast. Like I said earlier, you can contact me, djbevo@me.com, if you've got any questions, or you can hit us up on the Facebook group, which is the Australian Mobile DJs Facebook group. Love to hear from you there.
The Australian Mobile DJ podcast was hosted by DJ Bevo and produced by Matt Fulton Productions.